It doesn't get better than this. Ladies and gentlemen, David Bowie.
Nice.
Very much indeed.
Great to have you.
She looks exactly like my daughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A bit punk rock.
Yeah.
Now, what happens with you? You have kids.
You're supposed to say, yeah, I didn't know you had a daughter.
Well, I know that you do, but maybe not that old. You have a son, though, that's about my age.
Good Lord, are you really my son? Why haven't you got a job yet?
Is that what you're like? I was thinking, what is it like for David Bowie to discipline, you know, like your son in his sort of rebel stage when he comes down, and what sort of disciplinary can you be given your past?
You know, we went to, when he was around 12, where we were living, the town, Johnny Rotten came in with Pill. Pill had just been formed, you know, and my son said, oh, I really want to go and see them, Dad. Can we go and see them? I said, yeah, sure, I'll take you down. He said, oh, fantastic. So the night rolls around. And he says, OK, I'm just going to get ready. And he goes upstairs, and he comes back down, and he's got, like, green and red hair and everything. And I'm saying, I'm just about to say, if you think I'm going out with you... And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, Dad, what? What are you going to say?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Start whipping out the photo album of you.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. So we actually went, we had a good night.
Right.
It was really good.
What is it like for you to take a look at that tape and to see all those many different images and personas? And the question is, when you were done on those stages, where did you go with that, like, off stage?
Yeah. Well, I was like that off stage. I was really like that off stage. I was, you know, really crazy guy at that time, you know. Probably wacky as well. You know, and it was just like part of... There was a whole scene in London, and we just kind of lived that life, and it was like we just didn't want anything to do. You know how it is, you know. It's like it was the 70s. We wanted nothing to do with the 60s, and we were determined that we were the beginning of the 21st century, you know. And
right.
we want to wipe out everything that had happened before. But all generations do. That's what they want to do. That's how it works, you know. You old people have to be killed by the young. That's how it works.
I've been reading a lot.
The Greeks were the same. You know, it's not like now. It's like
right.
It's always been the same thing.
Yeah, but well,
But I'm not going to let them do it to me. See?
Yeah, you've been able to maintain it.
I'm just going to get older and older and older.
But
yet, just like never stop singing.
And it still works. And there seems to be, though, this, and maybe you can explain what it is, a sense of a common thread or a common denominator between yourself and somebody like Springsteen or Bob Dylan, and it just doesn't stop. And the records come out.
It's the clothing, really, isn't it?
It's not. It's the reviews. There's some of the best albums out today. What is it about you guys? You just won't stop. You can't stop, yet you don't sacrifice anything, and it seemingly gets better.
I think, obviously I can't speak for anybody else, but I mean, my presumption is, if you only write for yourself, I'm very selfish as a writer and performer, which is probably pretty obvious from the way that I work, is that I only write for me and I only perform for me. And if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, I can't meet other people's expectations. I can't possibly pretend to second guess what other people want, you know, so I just do what I might be driven by a particular sound at one particular time, or a new kind of rhythm that I've heard. You know, I went through a whole thing with drum and bass in the mid-90s that I really loved it. I was totally into it.
Right.
And I started working with that. And of course, a lot of people get very antagonistic about it because it's like, you know, you shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
But it's just what I want to do. And it was like, it's often what, I don't know, what an artist who kind of thinks often does is often seen as commercial suicide, and sometimes they're right. But in the long term, I can look back on everything I've done and be pretty proud of where I've been and what I've tried to do, you know?
Right.
And I haven't got much out there that looks like, oh, he was really trying to, you know, do chart stuff then or whatever.
Right.
I got a couple of them, but I lose them.
Well, I think some of us might have come into the period that was about modern love and China Girl and Let's
right
Dance.
on that.
What was that? Where does that era fall into that? Is that the Down Here one?
So I'm moving into the 90s.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the best...
No, you're right. There was, yeah. I mean, Let's Dance, I love that album. I think it's a really good album. And it's the next two after that, I think, were probably their millstones around my neck, and they're awful albums. Because I'd really lost my way.
You've seemingly found it.
I was a poor little lamb.
One of the best shows I've ever seen was in 1995. It was in San Francisco in California, and it was yourself and Nine Inch Nails.
Oh, that was a really good show.
Such an amazing show, especially the way you guys sort of crossed over to you did Hurt and.
Well, that was a real, that was a weird one for me because it was I was very flattered and really knocked out that Trent was quite a fan of a lot of my earlier stuff pre-Let's Dance. And we got on really well, and he said, come out and do this thing with me and all that. And it was really hard for me. The first 3 or 4 gigs, and they were all on the East Coast here, were just a nightmare for me because I didn't understand what we were doing. It all felt different for me. I'd never done anything like that. I'd never gone out with another artist like that before, It was really weird. And his audience wasn't particularly taken with me. And they were like... and I was like... And it took me the entire tour through till, well, I don't know, maybe by the time we got to Chicago, and I found my balance, and then it was great. The whole rest of that tour was fabulous, and I really loved it. Funnily enough, one of the worst gigs was in New Jersey, and it was awful. But we went there.
What went wrong in Jersey?
What went wrong? I turned up.
I thought it might have been Trent throwing things.
It was like, because it was like there was only Trent on the wings going.
Right.
I look back and I'm going, thanks a lot.
Dragging me out to this.
So the other night we played New Jersey again, and all these years later. And we get to the gig, and I'm all like ready. I'm dressed as a gladiator, I got the net, and I got this huge sword, and I'm right. Let me, I go out there, and it's great. And we had such a fabulous time, and I thought, it was terrific.
We got Jersey back.
Got Jersey back, yeah.
I've seen you at like the MTV Video Music Awards, and I think that like last year I remember sitting there when like NSYNC or Britney Spears was on, and I remember just looking over at you and just thinking like, what does David Bowie think of this right now?
It's too easy, isn't it? Let me go another way with that one. I think a major band in this country, for me anyway, during the 80s were the Pixies. I thought they were absolutely necessary. A very, very important band. Charles was, or Frank, or whatever, however you want to refer to him, is a fantastic songwriter, and they produced some really exciting music. Obviously, Nirvana was terribly influenced, and a number of other bands were influenced by them. But they were never played on American radio, they never sold any albums, and they broke up. And I'm seeing that beginning to happen again over here. You've got bands like Grandaddy, Mercury Rev, Flaming Lips are getting some kind of exposure now, right this second.
Right.
But if they don't get played, they don't sell albums, and if you're not careful, they're going to go under, and more creative, really inventive artists are going to disappear after 2 or 3 years because nobody's out there supporting them. Radio isn't supporting them like it should be, and there is crap on American radio. Real crap.
On that, we're going to take a break. David Bowie's here and he plays when we get back. Watching Last Call. Welcome back. Now to perform Everyone Says Hi off his new album, Heathen. Make some noise for David Bowie.
Said you took a big trip, said you moved away. You've been so quietly, so they say. Should've took a picture, something I could keep. Buy a little frame, something cheap for you. Everyone says hi. a big ship. Said you sailed away. Didn't know the right thing to say. I'd love to get a letter, love to know what's what. Hope the weather's good and it's not too hot for you. Everyone says hi. Everyone says hi. Everyone says don't stay in a sad place where they don't care how you are. Everyone says hi. If the money's lousy, you can always come home. We can do all the old things. We can do bad things. If the food gets you hungry, you can always home. We can do all the good things. We can do it, we can do it, we can do it. Don't stay in a bad place where they don't care how you are. Everyone says hi. Everyone says hi. Everyone says hi. Everyone says hi. And the girl next door. Everyone says hi. And the guy upstairs. Everyone says hi. 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 And your mom and dad. Everyone says hi. And you big fat dog. Everyone says hi. Everyone says hi. Everyone says hi. Yeah, 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 yeah. Everyone says hi. Yeah, 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 yeah. Everyone says hi. Everyone says hi. Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go, David Bowie.